Dragon Riders, Kaze no Kaeru, by Night Dragon 0. Since he couldn't turn his head upwards, I took a seat on top of the trees his head was stuck in and waited until he'd calmed down. "Beaten by a human! I don't believe it! Let me up right now!" he roared, firing off a dragon breath attack in various directions. "Sometimes brains can do what bronze can't," I laughed. From my position, I gripped his head between my knees and patted his head. "Now, I'm sure you came to challenge me for a reason. What is it?" "I could only tell that to someone who's defeated me," Kioi snarled. "This certainly counts, doesn't it?" This is humiliation!" he yelled, wriggling futilely to get himself free. "Sorry, pal, but you wanted to fight me, and you should know I fight dirty." "I refuse to accept defeat in such a manner." "You sure about that?" I asked, grinning. "Absolutely." "All right, then." I got off, walked behind the tree, and managed to find his right arm amongst the pile, and grabbed it in a lock. "Hey, what are you doing?" Kioi asked, unable to see me from his position. "Oh, since I need to defeat you in a more direct manner, I just think that I'll have to give you a bit more pain." I placed my foot at his shoulder joint. "Like this!" At the same time, I twisted his arm and drove my foot down. The loud snapping of the bone was accompanied by his scream of pain. I let go, and the arm fell, hanging limply by his side. "Submit?" Kioi only growled angrily. "I'll take that as a no." "All right, then." I walked over to his other arm and repeated the process. The dragon was swearing, struggling, and waving his limbs about in a desperate attempt to shake me off. Since he couldn't see exactly where I was, it was easy enough to evade his attempts and break both his legs as well. "You're gonna run out of limbs for me to break before this is done," I laughed, patting his head again. "Hey, Hazuki?" "Yes," she acknowledged, sitting in nearby with the Pokemon. "Roll a dice for me, and that'll dictate how many pieces I snap his tail into." All right! Kioi finally submitted. "I'm supposed to remind you to get to the Union Cave and give you a forbidden technique to help you out." "Did Euphoria tell you this somehow?" I queried. "No. Like I said before, we were recently awakened by the rising powers of the Dragon God's descendants, we felt. Euphoria must have sensed our awakening and directed you to the one she thought could help you." "And who's that?" "Isui, another dragon. She has her ways, though. I'm not too sure about them. Now, do you want your forbidden skill or not?" I hesitated. "What's wrong?" "I was trying to get away from all this," I said softly. "But now it seems I have no choice. Let's have it." "Touch my head," Kioi instructed. I felt a warm, familiar aura as I did so. "Counter rockets. Fighting type attack. Combination of sky attack and reflect. It's basically a leap up and a swoop down maneuver, except you will be invincible until the moment of contact. Anything after is fair game." "Okay, I got it," I nodded. "But there's a little catch to this one. You cannot activate it by yourself. You need another allied Pokemon to cast the reflect. Any Pokemon will be able to do it. It's called a dual tech." "There's more, isn't there?" "It's armor-piercing, and cuts through defensive moves and resistances." "No, I mean its effect on my current state." "Ah, yes, because you accepted it. It will break through whatever block Euphoria put against your forbidden techniques, allowing you to utilize them." "Thought so," I muttered, turning to my companions. "Hazuki, I guess I've got a lot of explaining to do. Anyway, we'll have lots of time as we have to walk, especially since the wise guy here busted the train track." "I had to do that to get your attention!" Kioi protested. Everyone ignored him. "You actually want me to come along?" Hazuki asked excitedly. "Sure," I said, walking briskly off. "Since we're fighting dragons, I could always use a beautiful maiden to sacrifice to them." "Wow, you really... Hey! What do you mean sacrifice? Hey, wait for me! Darn, you're evil, you know?" I didn't need to turn around to know that she was running after me. The Pokemon shared the laugh before following my lead as well. "Oh, that's really funny," Kioi spat. "And hey, what about me? Hey, could you help me out? I can't move. Hey! "You're a legendary dragon, so I assume you'll be able to handle yourself," I called back. "Well, great meeting you, Kioi. Have a nice day." We left him behind, screaming in outrage. Chris's perspective. It couldn't have been more than a day before they came to drag me off to another ordeal. I had been completely reluctant, but the whip and the electrical collar finally drove me to comply. So I was forced down to a familiar-looking steel door. Familiar because I'd once been there to throw Pokemon into it. It was Team Rocket's Pokemon training ground, an underground battle arena best described as a locked room for Pokemon to fight. No rules except for last one standing wins. In a lot of cases, it also turned into first one to die loses. The steel door slammed shut behind me. I stood facing my opponent, a Marowak. "Get out there and fight!" my master yelled from behind the door. I turned and snarled at him, only to get another electrical collar treatment. I recovered just in time to dodge a Boomerang flying towards my head. Growling, I turned towards the ground Pokemon and charged, having to dodge 2 more bone attacks before headbutting him in the chest. It recovered and attacked with its bone club. I parried several of its thrusts before managing to slash the club in half. I went into a frenzy of kicks and slashes before kicking its chin and knocking the Marowak out with a blow to its chest. I heard the click of the door opening in front of me and raced for it. I slashed at the Rocket in the doorway, giving him a bad cut on his hand. Another one behind him brought out a whip and lashed at me. I took a hard blow at the side of my face, knocking me over. My Scyther fangs had also cut into the flesh at my mouth, and I spat out the blood. I was then assaulted by whips from several agents, plus the electrical shock of the collar, beating me until I was bleeding all over. "Very disobedient of you," my master said, holding my head down. "So, no food for you today." I was thrown back into my cell shortly afterwards. Zion's perspective. Nice night for a flight, I thought. Still, I hadn't come out to enjoy the breeze. I was out looking for someone. Although I could have just teleported to my approximate location, a short flight was always enjoyable. It was nice to stretch my wings after all those years of sleep, and I was in no hurry anyway. Speaking of that, how long has it been since I've eaten? Wonder what's good out there. I soon spotted my quarry, Kiwi, and what a sight it was. My colleague had his head stuck through a tree, which was also at the bottom of a large pile of trees. "Well, you're a sight for sore eyes," I laughed, landing. "Night Slice do that to you?" "He tricked me and, well," Kiwi muttered. "It doesn't matter. I did my job and got him his forbidden skill, just like Grix wanted. Jeez, even with a human, he's so insistent on getting his way." "Stubborn, just like you," I nodded. "Well, he's from your side of the family anyway." "Oh, shut up and get me out of here, Zion." "Come on, a few trees and you scream like mad? When I felt it, I thought your mind had gone back to the time before the war when Jinte and I were able to perform a life dissection on you." "Can we not talk about that incident? The kid broke my arms and legs, so I can't really move them, all right?" At that, I simply couldn't stop myself from rolling around on the floor in spasms of laughter. "Hey, it's not funny!" Kiwi growled, eyeing me furiously. "I got my head stuck in here, and I was too mad to think properly." "Not like you just think properly anyway," I gasped between my laughs. "Look, just shut up and get me out of here, you miniature pipsqueak of a dragon," he blurted out. "You calling me small there?" I stopped laughing. I really hated it when people did that. "Yes! No! I mean, no! Really, it was just a joke! Really!" He stopped short because I was glaring angrily at him. "You do know that I can do a lot of mean and nasty things to you, right? Fighting type?" I roared. "Zion! No! Not again!" Kiwi begged. "Don't turn me into..." Zap. Oh well, that was over and done with. That's a side of us dragons you won't see often, but it's there. It seemed that everything was playing out. Firestorm and Night Slice were off, for better or worse. We would be there only to challenge them, relay messages, and pass on our ancient skills. I felt bad about leaving their friends, the boy and the girl as they were, but we were forbidden from interfering. Firestorm and Night Slice would have to solve those problems on their own. Only then would everyone be prepared for what lay ahead.